I think it just happened to be an unlucky situation where in the 30 seconds that our guys were rolling up,
they were working in an undercover capacity, so we're limited in what we can say about what they were doing and why they were doing.
That just recently the ATF classified the FRTs, the force reset triggers.
They take a lot of precautions to make sure that this doesn't happen, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting that it still does happen.
Manhunt in Chicago after an ATF agent on an undercover mission was ambushed and shot in the face.
Number 5, ATF robbery, Navy veteran. All right, buckle up for a wild ride because this story about Carlo, a retired U.S. Navy veteran, is straight out of a Hollywood thriller, but sadly, it's all too real. Carlo, a Navy veteran with 2 decades of honorable service under his belt, is just minding his own business, trying to buy a simple buffer tube for his firearm. Nothing too fancy, just a routine purchase, right? Wrong. As Carlo pulls up to the store, he's met with a shocker. The store owner drops the truth that they're under ATF investigation. Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But Carlo brushes it off and heads inside thinking, what's the worst that could happen? Well, let me tell you, things escalate quicker than a cat video going viral. As Carlo pops open his trunk, ready to stash his buffer tube purchase, out of nowhere, ATF agents swarm in like they're raiding a mob boss's hideout. Guns drawn, handcuffs clicking, it's chaos. Carlo, a law-abiding citizen with a clean record, finds himself handcuffed and interrogated like he's some kind of criminal mastermind. The agents are grilling him about illegal mash guns and all sorts of shady dealings, while Carlo's just standing there dumbfounded. But it gets crazier. While Carlo's stuck in handcuffs, the agents start ogling his firearms like they're kids in a candy store. They even take selfies with his prized possessions. Talk about adding insult to injury. And here's the kicker, when Carlo refuses to let them search his car because he doesn't want his Tesla's recording to stop, the agents flip out. They're not used to being recorded, you see. It's like they forgot we're living in the age of smartphones and social media.
We Knight's Armament, and they start taking selfies with it, presumably that they're heroes and got these illegal guns off the street.
Has some undercover operation to try to lure you in. We solely had an arrest warrant for that other guy that you met, and I don't even know him.
Basically, while the interrogation is going on the side of the road, or side of the storefront, rather.
I think it just happened to be an unlucky situation where in the 30 seconds that our guys were rolling up,
their whole demeanor stops because, of course, they don't like being recorded, and, of course, they're not wearing body cameras.
It's scary to be standing there having a conversation with somebody in the parking lot and a bunch of armed federal agents come running in. I have no doubt that...
Long story short, Carlo ends up losing over $20,000 worth of his legally owned firearms and gear, all because of a misunderstanding and some trigger-happy ATF agents. It's a nightmare scenario that leaves Carlo with crippling anxiety and disbelief. So, next time you think about buying a buffer tube, maybe double-check the ATF schedule first. You never know when you'll stumble into a real-life action movie. Number 4. ATF agent ambushed. The gritty, violence-plagued streets of the South Side, where tensions run high and danger lurks around every corner. Now, throw in an ambush targeting none other than an ATF agent. Yep, you heard that right. It all went down when this brave ATF agent found themselves in the crosshairs of a vicious ambush. Shots rang out, chaos ensued, and before you could say, "Holy smokes!" our agent took a bullet right to the face. Can you imagine the sheer intensity of that moment? It's the stuff action movies are made of, except this is real life, folks. Now here's the kicker. Despite the gravity of the situation, this agent is a fighter. They might be down, but they're not out. Even though they're laid up in the hospital, battling critical injuries, there's a glimmer of hope. They're improving. Talk about resilience in the face of adversity. But wait, there's more. This isn't no isolated incident, not by a long shot. In fact, it's the 4th time in just 1 year that law enforcement officers have been targeted in this area. That's right, 4 times. It's enough to make your blood boil. Naturally, authorities aren't taking this sitting down. Oh no, they're mobilizing, they're strategizing, and they're on a mission to bring the perpetrators to justice. You better believe they're leaving no stone unturned in this urgent manhunt.
Manhunt in Chicago after an ATF agent on an undercover mission was ambushed and shot in the face.
In the shooting of that agent. He was shot early this morning during an undercover operation. We have team coverage.
It's underway for the gunman who shot a federal agent in Chicago this morning. The agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is...
We will knock on every door, talk to every witness, watch every piece of video.
They were working in an undercover capacity, so we're limited in what we can say about what they were doing and why they were doing.
Specialized units into the area to ensure the safety of the community residents and to conduct a manhunt for anyone involved.
It's a showdown between good and evil, right here on the mean streets of Chicago. And while the outcome hangs in the balance, one thing's for sure, when the chips are down, the Windy City doesn't back down from a fight. So stay tuned, folks. This ain't over till it's over. Number 3. ATF FRT seizure drama. Buckle up, folks, because we've got quite the saga to unravel here. You're chilling at Moonlight Industries, minding your own business, when suddenly, bam! 2 ATF agents rock up at your door, armed to the teeth, talking about seizing your gear. Sounds like something out of a spy movie, right? Well, believe it or not, it's happening in real life. So what's all the fuss about? These agents are on a mission, and their target? Forced Reset Triggers, or FRTs for short. Now, these aren't your average household items. The ATF has decided to label them as mash guns. But here's the kicker. There's a whole legal debate raging over whether that's legit or just a load of hogwash. Now, our protagonist in this wild tale is the owner of Moonlight Industries out of Arizona. Imagine being in his shoes, greeted by these ATF agents, all suited up like they're storming a fortress. But wait, it gets juicier. These agents start spinning a yarn about how FRTs have been reclassified as mash guns, which, spoiler alert, ain't exactly true. Talk about a plot twist. But our hero ain't buying it. He stands his ground, refusing to hand over his FRTs or spill the beans about whether he's got them. And you know what? Good on him. He's not about to let these agents trample all over his rights. But here's where it gets really sticky. These agents, like they're slick-talking salesmen, trying to sweet-talk our guy into coughing up his gear. They're all, oh, you won't get in trouble, just hand him over, while at the same time trying to trip him up into admitting guilt. Sneaky, right? And let's not forget the lack of body cams. Seriously? In this day and age? It's like they're hiding something and it ain't pretty. So there you have it, folks. A showdown between a small business owner and the ATF, with FRTs caught in the crossfire. It's like a scene straight out of an action flick, but unfortunately, it's all too real. Let's hope justice prevails in this Wild West showdown.
We, like you said, we are the ones that just come and knock on the door. We
Sure.
just enforce the laws.
I'm not refusing anything. I won't be answering any questions.
Okay. That just recently the ATF classified the FRTs, the forced reset triggers.
See, the problem is you are the people who go and knock on the doors, right? Sure. It's a bigger conversation than what you're having right now.
But okay, so we are aware that you did purchase FRTs again.
Number 2. Hillsborough County, Florida, where things were getting a little too hot for comfort. Illegal guns and drugs were running rampant, and the good folks at the sheriff's office knew they had to do something about it. But they didn't just swing into action alone. Oh no, they teamed up with the big guns, pun totally intended, the ATF, in an epic collaboration that lasted a solid 4 months. Now let me break it down for you. These guys weren't messing around. They were on a mission to clean up the streets, and boy did they deliver. We're talking dozens of guns and enough drugs to make your head spin, all yanked right off the streets of Hillsborough County. You could practically hear the sigh of relief from the community. But wait, it gets even better. This wasn't just some run-of-the-mill operation. It was a full-on crackdown. They weren't just slapping cuffs on a couple of small-time dealers. They were going after the big fish, the ones causing all the real trouble. And guess what? They nailed it. Dozens of arrests were made, sending a clear message to anyone thinking about messing with the law in Hillsborough County. Don't even think about it. And let's not forget the teamwork here. The sheriff's office and ATF were like a well-oiled machine, working together seamlessly to take down the bad guys. It was like something out of a buddy cop movie, except this was real life, and the stakes were higher than ever. Number 1. Bathroom photo scandal. Picture this. You're just minding your own business, doing your thing in the bathroom stall at UW-Madison's Witt Residence Hall. when suddenly you catch someone trying to snap pics of you from under the stall. Creepy, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to some female students there, and it turns out the culprit wasn't just some random peeping Tom. Nope, he was actually a federal agent from Monona, a nearby town. So here's the lowdown. This dude, Justin Fahey, who's supposed to be with the ATF, ended up behind bars after a student caught him in the act. Can you imagine the nerve of this guy? Sneaking into a woman's bathroom and violating people's privacy like that? Totally not cool. But wait, it gets even sketchier. When confronted, Fahey tried to play it off like he just waltzed into the wrong restroom by mistake. Yeah, right, as if spending a solid 14 minutes in there and then conveniently wiping his phone clean of evidence was just an innocent slip-up. UW-Madison police weren't buying it, and honestly, who would?
They're for our students. They're not necessarily for the general public to use.
Students from under the bathroom stall of one of the residence halls. News 3's Amanda Quintana has those details.
He recently wiped his phone to a previous backup, so in our minds that was an indication that
They take a lot of precautions to make sure that this doesn't happen, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting that it still does happen.
This incident happened on the lower level of Woody Hall, which is technically open to the public for classrooms, and
he mistakenly went into the wrong restroom, and it was just purely a misunderstanding.
What's really wild is that this all went down on the lower level of the dorm, which is technically open to the public for stuff like offices and classrooms. But come on, nobody expects to have to watch their back in the bathroom, right? Now, despite this being a pretty freaky incident, some students are keeping their cool. They're giving props to the campus police for their quick response and saying it hasn't really changed how safe they feel overall. But hey, it's definitely made some folks more wary of who's lurking around, especially when nature calls. So that's the scoop on the whole bathroom photo debacle at UW-Madison. Lesson learned, always double check who's lurking under those stall doors, folks. That's all for this video. See you next time.